You know, a while ago we was talking about the collector. I look a lot like him. Well, we're basically twins, man. What can I tell you? So anyway, in mythological days, when you got back to the eagle, let's say the eagle flag that flew high, he brought in the Columbus's ships. He was like a comet. He sailed through the air. The Pinta, the Nita, and the Santa Maria was Columbus ships. It was all in mythology. Now, the Great Depression that we people talk about today, well, you got to look at it like this. What would we do if the economy totally failed? Would we get in a spaceship? Could we get in a spaceship and go to Mars? Is there any such thing as Mars? Let's get real here. Probably is. We got Mars, Pluto, we have Jupiter. We have all these planets. Well, I believe it was in 1963, the year I graduated from high school, that John Glenn gets in a rocket and goes to Mars. I believe it was John Glenn, and puts a flag there. And somebody is peering up at Mars and said, there is the flag that John Glenn put there. Well, later on, it could not have been John Glenn. John Glenn, if you're still living, excuse me for this, but someone said, well, they did that in a studio. That was all movie stuff. He was in a studio. You know? So what we're seeing today is like the James Bond movies. You go to the James Bond movies. When James Bond did this movie and he was walking on Mars, I remember this. This was years ago. He was walking on Mars and somebody said, why is he walking on Mars? It was a Mars bar. It was a Mars bar that he was walking on. And he had this hearing aid in both ears. And he said, what am I supposed to do now? And the director said, you're fired. And you know who James Bond was? It was Matt Dillon. It's who James Bond. That really, it was. Matt Dillon played that as James Bond at that time. Then we got this new James Bond that comes in. And this new James Bond, he said, you know, I'll shoot you if you fool with Miss Kitty. And all of a sudden, Miss Kitty, she ascended into the clouds. And she said, you know, Matt Dillon comes up and said, you know something? I really believe this woman is some kind of professor. Come to find out, she was teaching at Duke University. That was in Muscadine, Alabama, by the way. So, when you have depression days and people say, oh, so-and-so's a millionaire over here, and so-and-so's a millionaire, and all these things. Miss Kenny had been, by the redneck comedy, recycled and come back to earth. And Matt Dillon rose up and said, I still love you. How do we know this is not going to happen? So, what I try to say, if you don't have no money, run from the honeys. Now,